Howdy, everyone, and welcome back. Today, we're talking about this key little point of leverage that really makes scaling your business so much easier. And the crazy thing about this one little point that we're going to talk about today, you're already doing it. You've already started, like you're almost halfway there already. So, that's really exciting. That means we've got a lot of resources and assets that we can leverage to be able to make this work. So today, I'm Leslie Hassler with Your Biz Rules Business Coaching. I bring the Be More Successful show every week because I am on a mission to empower prosperity for every business owner. Now, I work primarily with service-based businesses, so a lot of what I share has that kind of slant or point of view to that. But today, what we're talking about is the 5 most important people behind the scenes in your business. Now, my favorite quote in this area is, "Gone are the days that you can be successful in a silo." And I think this is a perfect quote for today. Now, when it comes to leveraging people, and leverage, just in case you're fuzzy on what that definition means, it's the action of getting a greater result as a result of your actions. So we're looking at a fulcrum, if you will, that point that's easy on here but has a lot of weight on the outcome of the result. And that is definitely what people do in your business. But I find there's some fears that we have, some problems that we run into, some challenges. One is from a money standpoint, right? Most times when I'm talking to people about leveraging people, we're the fact of the truth is there's several of these people that just require investment. It requires investment before you get the payoff. And that's that piece of leverage that you have to put in to the leverage equation. And that's really scary. And I totally understand that. Chances are it's more scary because you don't have something like a predictive cash flow that you can really leverage to help me make the decision, like, is now the right time? But I think it also, I want you to understand that everyone has that fear. Even I sometimes have that fear because it does represent a certain risk that we're taking in our business. But it's also one that we can have enormous payoff from. I think the other fear that business owners really suffer from in this area is the trust. Like, can I trust this person? And if it's an employee, can I trust them to do the work? If it's a partner, can I trust them to uphold their end of the bargain? So yes, trust is always a component when we're dealing with people, when we factor that into our businesses. But I do believe that if you lead the way you want to be treated, the golden rule, you weed out a lot of the other people through the natural course because it becomes really obvious that it's one-sided. I also believe that you can put in protections into the business that make it safer to venture into new agreements with new people. So there are ways to mitigate these fears, to make sure that they don't come to life. And clarity is one way. Having a little bit of a preemptive protection plan is another way. And knowing what your cash position looks like today, tomorrow, and next year, that's probably the third way that you can really alleviate these fears. But when we get to the point of who these people are, we're going to talk about 5 different types of people. The first one are your clients. Yay! If you have a business, you likely have clients. Now, there's the obvious point of leverage, like clients bring in revenue, kind of as a point of leverage in your business. But I think there's 2 other parts that the first one people do okay. I do even do okay. I could do better. And the second part, I know people don't do well here. So the first part, when we talk about leveraging our clients, is leveraging for things like referrals and introductions and connections. Okay, I'm going to say this time, and I will say it at the end, and I say it a lot. The fastest path to cash is through other people. It just is. And there's a lot of reasons for that. But really, what I want you to see in this standpoint is the value of leveraging your clients for referrals. After or even halfway through the process, when you've been hitting it out of the park, now's the time to start asking for referrals. And what you're looking for is people just like your clients who are looking for the same result, who want an outstanding result that you can provide to them. And what a referral does is it's a way to leverage, really, you start to leverage your marketing investment because you invested marketing, whether it's your time, your efforts, or your money into creating a client, getting a lead, getting a client, right? Well, that is the most expensive money you will ever spend on a client. It is what it is. We want it to be the lowest at its highest effectivity, right? But when you factor in referrals, referrals tend to be the cheapest money you'll ever spend in marketing, or the cheapest marketing that you'll ever spend. And when you couple it with the initial investment into a client, it starts driving that cost of acquisition way down, which is what we want. We want our cost of acquisition, the money that we spend on a client, to be at its optimal lowest point that it can be. And referrals is one way to do that. So guys, I have seen $1 million businesses who are a purely referral business, like they don't market. They spend no money in marketing. That is possible, but it has to be an intention. It has to be really forefront of your marketing program. So I'll give you that. The second part of leveraging clients that I don't believe people do well is in this feedback loop. And I'm talking about more than, hey, have we done a good job? Are you happy? I am talking about asking for refer or testimonials in one shape or form that really get down to what was the heart of their problem, what was their biggest hesitancy, how did you overcome that, why should somebody work with you? That is marketing research. That is the liquid gold that you can put back into your marketing. Now, the crazy thing, what we have, one of the things that I'll say all the time is I help you figure out what to do first, what to do next, and what to never do again, right? Really cool little soundbite. I did not come up with it. My clients did. And it happened to be the time that we were working on some marketing, and I went back through the testimonials and I started seeing the theme. And one of my clients actually said, she helped me figure out what to do first, what to do next, and what to never do again. That is pure genius, because your clients are going to speak about your business in layman terms, in everyday language that another person will get quicker than your expert language might be able to give to them. So that's just, it's an underrated value. But like I was telling my Thrive and Flourish community when we were talking about how do we develop new products and how do we expand into new markets, this is another untapped source of inspiration, of finding those low-hanging opportunities that you just can leverage to the hilt and put into impact tomorrow and be able to run with it. And that is really looking for what is it that we're not doing for you? If what is it that you would see us needing to do to really just be the number one in the market? What is it that you find yourself wishing we could take care of for you? What is it? What's the next thing you're worried about? What's your biggest stress today? Right? It's asking these more future questions that actually can help you produce new services, go into new markets, go to different industries. It really is an amazing gold mine. So really make sure that you do leverage your clients in a way that really builds a healthy, profitable, long relationship so that it's a win-win situation for everyone. Our second group is vendors. So vendors, suppliers, distribution maybe. Really, what I like about these guys is, so if the clients are at the end of the cycle, right, they receive the deliverable product, your vendors are over here. So they're the beginning of the cycle. They're the people that supply into you, make your business possible. So it could be that you don't need necessarily supplies, but you're utilizing technology and software and platforms. I will tell you, for my business, hands down, this is how I'm able to get so much done. Now, what's really interesting to me is that we don't typically fully leverage that relationship. Like, we pay, we use the service or the product, but oftentimes we don't go back to see what else they could solve for us. Because when we do that, and let's say you're paying on a monthly basis, because it seems to be subscription is everyone's love, fair lady of the moment. But if that is really what you're doing, then why not go back when you've got a problem, when you've got something else that you're trying to solve, when you're looking at, okay, if you could take care of this for me, life would be grand. Why not go back, pick up a phone call, send a chat and say, hey, here's the problem I'm trying to solve. Do you take care of this? How can I make this happen? And if you do have a personal relationship with your vendors and your subcontractors and people like that, you can also go and ask their opinion on things. You can ask, how would they solve this? Do they know of another source that might be able to handle this for you? So it really is just another, it's almost like in this case, you're the client, but it's how you can leverage that relationship even more so that you're not spinning your wheels, you're not implementing new technologies when you've got three that'll handle the problem, because that does happen, right? Because you've gone back, you've taken the time to go see if what you have will cover the base first. I think also what's really interesting here, guys, is especially, again, if you are able to have a personal conversation, a personal relationship with your vendors and your suppliers, is the fact that you can use them just as much as anyone else looking for introductions. But also, if you come into situations where you need to either more favorable payment terms, or you need maybe a little leeway because something has happened, like 2020, you can go back to these people, because oftentimes they want to reward the longevity, but you're going to have to ask, right? And you're going to have to ask nicely. But truly, there's so much benefit that even just thinking about your vendors in this kind of lens can do for you. The third area that I want to talk to you about is really about partners and networks. Again, here we're going to come up with this phrase of the fastest path to cash is through other people. And when you're looking at partners and networks, especially I think as you get into a more sophisticated business, getting that next connection is going to be so much easier to do if you've got a person. Now, I was reading this morning in Tools of Titans, but Tim Ferriss, his viewpoint on an article that Kevin Kelly wrote. And you know, I love Kevin Kelly. Well, Kevin Kelly wrote this article, maybe 98, talked about 1,000 fans, that all you needed was 1,000 true fans. And so Tim Ferriss was giving his viewpoint on it. But one of the lines I really enjoyed from Kevin Kelly in this article was this concept that you're only one click away. You're only one step away. You're only one person away from achieving your desired results and your goals. And so how do we do that? And if the game 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon makes sense to you, that's exactly what we're trying to do here. We're trying to leverage that network. So this is a strategy that you can use at any stage of your business. But I think at the beginning, it tends to be that you're trying to get to clients. And as you mature in your business, you're trying to get to partners. It's a little different in that area. You still might be trying to get to clients, but you probably are using it for other reasons too. So you can find connections, introductions, referrals in this area. Like we've mentioned, alliances would be that third category that I would share with you. And you're looking for complementary, collaborative, but not competitive. And I will say this is not Not everybody understands how to play well in this area. It really is, we're looking for win-win-wins. Wins for you, wins for the other business, wins for both of the clients at the end of the day with these type of things. But this is where you might be leveraging another person's audience if you're looking to increase visibility. When I speak, I'm booked by all these various organizations, I'm leveraging their audience to get my message out. So I'm providing value, right? That's the win for them. I'm providing value to the listener. That's the win for them. And I'm also using it as a way to market my own services so that I can continue to build my business. And so there's a lot of things that you can do in that area, but you can also partner with another business and develop a new product or service. You could refer each other, circular businesses, because you're in a kind of a sphere of influence with them. There's a lot of fun that you can have in this area, but it's usually pretty inexpensive. Even if I do affiliate partnerships, I still consider that the cost of doing business, and it's usually on my most scalable things, so it's easy to do. There's just a lot of ways that you can play in this area. So our fourth area, two more to go. Our fourth area is mentors, advisors, and consultants. So the phrase that I want to give you here is standing on the shoulders of giants, meaning that you can definitely go out and learn it. You most definitely can go out and learn it. You are capable of that. But do you have the time? Do you have the energy? And do you have the patience for how long it's going to take for you to get proficiency? So when you use mentors, advisors, and consultants, you're leveraging their knowledge, their wisdom, their expertise. Now, I do believe this is one of those areas where you invest before your success, as is our next one. And that's a part of business too. You got to spend a little money to make a little money. But the key here is to understand what result or what outcome you're asking for. Now, somebody can help you get clarity all day long. Totally get it. I help my clients get clarity on a nearly daily basis, but we have clarity about the result we're after, right? We're very clear on what we're trying to achieve. That way we've got a measurement, a checkpoint to understand that the relationship is doing what it was intended to do. If you don't go into it with that, I think it's more likely that you can get things off track. And I think of even just my private clients, the people I work one-to-one with. So I work with in the group. I have a group program where I can work in people in a small group environment, and then I work one-to-one with people. So this happens a little more in one-to-one than it does in my group. But in my one-to-one world, what will happen is we'll have some fire opportunity challenge come up that kind of derails the conversation. Maybe we're intending about meeting on topic B, but this is important enough that topic B gets pushed to the side. If you don't have that intention, topic B is always going to push to the side, and you'll never be able to kind of get that thing achieved that you wanted to achieve. So it's that role of the mentor, of the advisor, the consultant to bring you back in. And even say, I'll tell my clients all day long, I'm like, okay, we were supposed to talk about this because of X, Y, and Z. I'm happy to talk about this, but I just want you to make that conscious choice. Is that yes, no, maybe, okay, half and half. It's always get a different answer, but I think it's the role of that mentor or that advisor to really bring that up to you to make sure that you're staying on track. And clarity will bring that. Clarity gives you and the person that's helping you an ability to know where you're trying to go without guessing. Our last group, our fifth group, is team. So team is the people that make it all happen. And I always say many hands make light work. I don't care if I'm on a nonprofit board and I have to fill board positions, many hands make light work. And that's really should be one of those things you consider in your business when you're building your team. So we'll talk maybe in an episode or two down the road about how to hire, who to hire, and for when, for what, because there's a lot of different schools of thoughts, but I think there's some simplicity we can bring to that. Oh, on when to hire for whom. But with the team is concerned, what we want to look at is ultimately you need to be in the position to do the work that only you could, can, and should do, not all the work. There's this point of inflection when it comes to your role in the business, where you're going to go from the person that does it all to the person that ensures it gets done, which means you got to have leadership involved. You've got to think about that kind of development. You're going to need new skills. But truly, you can't make that switch until you've got somebody to fill your place. Like, you need a mini me to come in and do the work at least to an 80 or 90% level. Never look for perfection. It's just not possible. And this is like a living, breathing organism. It will never be perfect. So stop trying. Like, just let it go. Relax a little, right? But you're going to have to put in intention with them, 90-day training plans, job descriptions, KPIs, reviews. Really think about how you're going to develop your people over the course of the time, so that each time you're expanding your team, you're getting less off your plate. Right? Less is on your plate to concern about and things that you shouldn't be doing, and more is coming onto your plate to the things that feed your soul and really that are only the things that you can do in your business. So those are our 5 key points, our 5 types of people behind the scenes in your business. Which one are you using right now? Which ones could you add to the agenda for this next year? So that is it for today, guys. My name is Leslie Hassler. I own Your Biz Rules Business Coaching. We believe in empowering prosperity for every business owner, but we serve service-based businesses and help them grow and scale in a way that's both profitable and sustainable. If you liked today's episode, please share, please comment, let me know your thoughts. And until next week, may your week be profitable.